Hi. I'm going to put this in. This is meat. There's two sorts here, but basically it's ground up beef, very low fat content, about 550 grams. I'm going to put these in, which are, as you can see, quite a lot of onion. In fact, there were 5 onions, but they were quite small ones. So probably 3 large ones is the sort of quantity I've got. I've got a small amount of pepper, which could be any colour, just to give it a little bit of colour. And I always put a bit of carrot in, not a lot. There are in fact 3 carrots chopped in little tiny squares. Then 1 aubergine, also cubed. This is going into my slow cooker, and I'm not putting in, at this moment in time, the garlic, because the garlic will lose its flavour quite quickly, and this will be slow cooked in total for about 6 hours. So these will go in at the last point, probably for the last couple of hours, not much more than that. Now, olive oil, as you well know, this is actually very, very low in fat, so I'm adding a lot of it to it. I'm going to add some salt on this occasion because it needs something. So as you can see, that was quite a lot of fat, but if you had used a fatty mincemeat, whereas this is ground steak with literally no fat in it, then you wouldn't add that. I'm going to add a lot of pepper because that's what I do. Now, you could add chili powder if you wanted, but if you add chili, you're stuck with doing chili type dishes. I prefer to add the chili later because this will make quite a lot of meals, and I will be doing a series of different types of things you can do with this. I'm adding some sort of salt, not a vast amount. I'm adding, again, my favourite manufacturer of these. They smell and taste of tomatoes, and mainly tin tomatoes don't. So just 1 tin, okay? Because a lot of liquid will be coming out of the vegetables. And I will also be adding the same manufacturer, but tomato puree. And that will give it quite a bit of acidity, and one needs a bit of acidity. If I wasn't adding quite so much in the way of the tomato puree, then I would throw in some vinegar. Now all of this needs to be mixed up and into the meat, and there's nothing like a hand to do all of this with. Now, this is a very simple slow cooker. It doesn't have any major programming. You tell it 1 of 2 speeds and you set the temperature. So the first thing I'm going to do is to put it on for a couple of hours at a higher temperature to get it up and working. Then I shall shut it down for the last, oh dear, it's typical, I always drop something, don't I, as you well know. For the last little bit, I add that. If I could add some more liquid, and I think I might do a little bit of water in there now, because it's got a lot of cooking to do to get the water to come out of both the vegetable and the meat. So I'm going to add a little bit of water. Excuse me, please. I need to get to the tap. Right. Just a little tiny bit of water. Now, I'm not going to add any herbs until later on in the cooking process, because all of that will sort of get dissipated and lost. So, this one, you turn the electricity on. Now you've got a flashing thing. So now I choose the program, and that's the low setting. So I now put the high on and I set it for a couple of hours. And that's it. Don't do anything else to it. I won't be doing anything until I need to add this in order to open it. But I won't be stirring it. I won't be mucking about with it. I won't be doing anything. It's a slow cooker. It does its own thing and it doesn't burn. That's the big deal. But in 2 hours' time, I'll come back and lower the setting for the next 4 hours. But I still won't open the lid. I won't be opening that lid at all until the last 2 hours to add the garlic and some herbs. All right? See you later. Okay, right. So this is now after it's cooled. And as you can see, I've managed to make 3 of these to go in the deep freeze. There's their lids. I'll put a sticky label on them for bolognese. This is enough for 2 large portions for how do you say this? It's for 2 people, large portion. That's a smaller portion to go as a topping on top of vegetables, particularly aubergines. We really like that with a cheese topping. But that's 1 meal, 2 meal, 3 meal, 4 meals for us. Plus, I've got another 2 meals for us in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 12 portions out of that. It was 550 grams of meat yesterday. And that is complete food. You've got every vegetable, you've got roots, you've got everything you need. So I'm going to put these in the deep freeze. This I'm going to take out and put in here to go in my fridge. And that's batch cooking. It saves a lot of time. And this little slow cooker does all the stirring because it doesn't burn. It's just so simple. If you have one of these devices, you should now be using it because it's wonderful. And I put it on in the evening so we all benefit from any heat it produces. Although they're pretty good and they don't seem to heat the room up terribly. But I wouldn't be without it. And you can see this is a lot of meat product. You'll be able to use it with spaghetti, with baked potatoes. You can have it on little toasts. You can put little fluffy bits of eggy stuff on the top of it. It's just a non-stop event of food that's good for you, easy and incredibly tasty. Okay.